So, you've been living paycheck to paycheck and you just can't seem to get ahead? Yeah, I've been there. And if you've been feeling that way, then this video is for you. Hi, my name is Nessa, and this is the Project Girl Boss channel. Now, in this channel, we talk all things business, social media strategies, and how to get the life we want by becoming our own boss. So in today's video, I really wanted to focus on how we can get started on thinking about personal finance when we're not making a lot of money. When I first graduated from college, I got my first job and it was far away from my hometown. And I was really excited because it was the first time that I was going to be on my own, making my own money. The whole time that I was in school, I never really worked. So I had zero savings. My dad, being the amazing father that he is, set me up with a credit card and said, here, this is for emergencies and just to kind of keep you afloat until you get your first paycheck. And I thought, great. And you know what? It was great because I wasn't getting that credit card statement. My dad was. So he was getting the credit card statement and he was making the payments. When I got my first paycheck, I felt like the richest girl in the world. And it's funny because I was making so little, but I felt like I've made it, I've arrived. And the first thing that I started to do was give myself this lifestyle and buy all the things that my parents, never wanted to buy for me because they felt it was too expensive and I didn't really need them. So now I figured, hey, it's my money now. I can buy it for myself. Great. It wasn't long before other banks started offering me credit cards. And I thought, well, that's great. That must mean that these banks think that I'm creditworthy. So yes, give me these cards. And I accepted them. So as you might imagine, I wound up in massive credit card debt. I began to use my dad's emergency credit card like my very own personal debit card. I was taking this card to the ATM to withdraw money. I was using it to pay for gas. I was using it to pay for groceries. I was using it to pay for my electric bills. And it wasn't long before my dad gave me a call and said, hey, I noticed you've been using the credit card quite a bit. For 3 months now, you've kind of maxed it out and I've paid it off completely, but what's going on? Are you in trouble? And I said, oh, no, Dad, I'm sorry. I had a little hiccup with my payment, but I've gotten everything sorted out now. Don't even worry about it. It's not going to happen again. And he said, are you sure? Because if you're in trouble, tell me now and we can see how we can fix it. And I said, no. Everything's fine. Everything's cool. Then what I did was I went to the bank and I said, hey, this credit card, my dad got it for me, but it's in my name and I'm working now. So I would like to receive the statements because I'm going to be making the payments. And the bank was just like, okay, we'll send you the statements. So now I had 5 credit cards to pay for, plus all of my expenses. And I had no way to pay for it. So then my smart brain was like, okay, I'm gonna get a loan to pay off the credit cards and then I'll use my paycheck to pay off the loan and I'll be fine. And that worked for about 3 months. And then I started using the credit cards again and I maxed them out again. So I guess what I'm trying to tell you here, guys, is that every time I turned around, I found myself in some new financial crisis. The car would break down and I'd need to take it to the shop. I would get sick and I had to go to the doctors. Something would need fixing in the apartment and not to mention the dumb, frivolous lifestyle that I was giving myself. So all of these things started piling up, to which I was just making really, really bad decisions. Because the fact of the matter is that I was being reactive to my problems instead of proactive. To my credit and yours, no pun intended, this isn't something that they teach us at school. You know, they don't sit us down to teach us about credit cards and how to find the best interest rate and what it means to just pay the minimum. They don't tell us about balancing a checkbook. They don't teach us that. And I don't understand why they don't. Quite frankly, I think that they should. I think that before anybody graduates high school, they should give you a basic understanding on how to save. Eventually, I was able to get out of credit card debt. I mean, it was hard and I had to learn some really hard lessons along the way. And, you know, my dad found out how much trouble I was in, and it was a conversation. But that's a completely different story. And if you ever want to hear about that, then leave me a comment down below and I will gladly make a video on that. But this video is all about how to start thinking about your personal finances when you might not necessarily be making a lot of money. Because even if you are living paycheck to paycheck, it doesn't have to mean it's a bad thing. And it doesn't mean that you can't save. There is always, always a way. Now, all of this that I just told you about school and the credit card debt happened while I was living in Honduras. 2 years ago, my husband, my son, and I traveled to the US and we have settled here. So when we came here, you know, we have no credit history in the US. We brought all of our savings. Because we weren't from here, every time we looked for an apartment, they would ask for 2 months deposit plus first month's rent plus the application fee plus you know all those things that they ask for. So money was tight, and I knew that I didn't want to fall into that debt trap again. But we basically ended up living paycheck to paycheck. And now we have started saving again. I'm going to share with you 6 steps that you can start taking today in order to stop living paycheck to paycheck. Number 1, quit buying dumb things. I know, okay, nobody likes to be told what to do with their money. When I was first making my own money back home, I didn't want my dad telling me how to use my money, because it was like, hey, it's my money. I worked for it. I will spend it however I want. I get that. I get it. But hear me out. All this really means is that we need to develop impulse control. A lot of us, myself included, fall into the trap of compulsive spending. Let me give you an example. Do you see this palette here? This is an eyeshadow palette. It's a fairly new palette that ColourPop came out with. It's really nice. It's got pretty colors. I really enjoy makeup. I have been using it a lot. I mean, I used it today. I have really enjoyed it. But did I need this eyeshadow palette? Yeah, so probably not. And this happens all the time. You go into the store to buy water and you're tricked into buying a chocolate bar, a keychain, a purse accessories, some batteries, little sanitizers, whatever it is, we are advertised to and we are suggestively sold. You know, when you get up to the cash register and you have the 2 stands right when you're about to pay, filled with gum and chocolates and mints and the batteries. I mean, you're at the cash register already, ready to pay after having walked the aisles where you have been suggestively sold things. I mean, there are articles written about this, about how they stack the shelves, you know, and they put the things that they want to suggest to you at your eye level, and then the things that you really need are like down below. But even after all that, you get to the cash register and they still put these things in front of you. So you're like, oh yeah, let me grab some mint to throw in my purse. Oh yeah, let me grab a chapstick. Do you know how many chapsticks I have in my makeup drawer? 7. 7. And I'm carrying 2 in my purse. Do I need 7 chapsticks? No. I need maybe 1 to carry around in my purse. I'd even accept 2, where I keep 1 at home and keep 1 in my purse. But do I need 7? No, I don't need 7. But it's like, ooh, this one's cherry. Let me grab that. Oh, this one has jojoba oil. Let me try that. And now it's even easier. Now they have these apps. So like this. This is like $39, almost $40, okay? And when it first came out, I was like, ugh, $40, I don't know. I mean, we have to go grocery shopping. My kid needs some school supply things. We have to, pay our phone bill. We have to pay this. I don't know if I can shell out $39 right now. But ColourPop works with this app called Afterpay. And basically what it is you don't have to pay the full $39 right now. Instead, they will spread that across 4 easy payments. So I got it. And now I have 4 payments that are going to be automatically deducted from my debit card on a certain date. And it's like, I haven't even earned that money and I already owe it. All because I didn't have any impulse control. And I saw this and my brain went, ooh, pretty, and purchased it. I still need to police myself as well. And that's what I'm trying to tell you, is we need to have some discipline and police ourselves in what we give our dollars to. If it's not absolutely necessary, don't spend it. Trust me, you'll be happy when it starts adding up in your savings account. Number 2, you don't need credit. Not yet. Now, this is a touchy one because a lot of us either have too much credit or not enough credit. When we first moved here, we had 0 credit. 0. I've taken steps to start building up my credit, but I'm being very mindful about how I do it. Because if money's tight right now, or if we're having trouble paying our bills, then credit is like the worst thing that we could get into. How are we going to pay someone we're borrowing money from, which is what you're doing when you have a credit card, when we're having trouble paying our own bills? What we need to do is save up little amounts of money over a long period of time so that we can get out from that strife of being broke all the time. Number 3, pay yourself first. And this is a big one, okay? Because let's face it, you work your ass off every single day. So you should be the one making decisions about where your money should go. Now, this doesn't mean that you should stop paying your bills or that you should be, delinquent on your debt. It just means that you make yourself a priority above all of that. So you pay yourself before paying your bills. And you need to do this for every paycheck that you cash for the rest of your life. It doesn't even have to be a lot of money. If you get paid 2 times a week, take $20, $25, $50 if you can, and set that aside. Over a long period of time, that will start adding up and it will start making a difference. Once you've got the impulse buying under control, this step should not be hard. You should be able to set aside that money and forget it. And if you're not doing this, then why are you working so hard? If I'm going to be working this hard, I want to be able to enjoy this money. I don't just want to give it to somebody else, Number 4, you want to give every single dollar a name. What I've done is that I've created an Excel spreadsheet for myself. And in this spreadsheet, I can see daily where my money goes. If you know where every single dollar is going, then you're less likely to spend frivolously out of your plan. Stick to the plan, stick to the budget. It works every single time. but you have to stick to it. If you find it overwhelming to create a whole monthly budget, then do a bi-weekly budget or do a budget for every time that you get paid. Well, I receive a paycheck every week, then have a weekly budget. If you receive a paycheck every 2 weeks, have a bi-weekly budget, as long as you know where every single dollar is going. Number 5, don't buy breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Say you go to Starbucks and you spend $3. You might think, well, it's just $3, okay? But what if you do that 5 days a week? Then it's $15 a week. And then what if you do that every week for a whole month? So 4 weeks, $15, that's $60 a month. $60 a month just on that $3 item. Now, imagine if on top of that, you're also buying lunch and buying dinner, and not every day, but occasionally. You might be throwing away $100, $200 that you could easily be saving if you just grocery shop. Do a little bit of meal planning. Number 6, and this is a really important one. It's so important that the Dave Ramsey Total Money Makeover book actually lists this as the first baby step, and that's to build an emergency fund. If you don't have an emergency fund, you'll never have a way of getting out of problems when they happen. Because remember Murphy's Law, anything that can go wrong will go wrong. Murphy's Law has a nasty habit of showing up every time we are unprepared and we don't want it to happen. Your tire will blow. The AC will stop working in the middle of a hot summer. The heat will stop working in the middle of winter. Best case scenario, you're never gonna have to use that emergency fund. Shoot for $1,000 first. That's a great target. Save up those $1,000 for the emergency fund, set them aside, and forget about it. If you have a real emergency, use it. Not being able to pay your light bill should not be considered an emergency, because you should have budgeted that when you gave every dollar a name. An emergency is, I am stranded in the middle of a road, I need to call a tow truck, and I don't have any roadside assistance because I let my insurance lapse. So now I need to pay for it. That's an emergency. And what you need to do is, if you take money out of the emergency fund, once you're out of that emergency, for your next paycheck, you need to budget to put that money back so that you refill the emergency fund. You don't just want to deplete it. Okay, guys, so those were the steps that I wanted to share with you on how you can start kind of getting control of your personal finance. I also don't want you to think of living paycheck to paycheck in a negative way. It doesn't have to be something embarrassing. It doesn't have to mean that you're struggling for the rest of your life. And really, you have to think of a way to turn that into a positive, because the moment you start thinking of things in a positive light, everything will start changing. So don't think of paycheck to paycheck as, oh my gosh, I'm struggling and I'm never gonna get out of this debt. Think of living paycheck to paycheck as, okay, I have to be mindful about my budget. Budgeting is a sound financial practice that is used by the wealthiest people around the world. I'm in the process of building up my emergency fund as well. I would love it if we could all support each other in this endeavor. Start out with what you can. If you can only set aside $5 a week, then that's what you got to do. You might not think it's a lot, but remember, as long as you keep setting it aside and forgetting about it, it will start adding up. So let's motivate each other. Let's push each other. Let me know down in the comments down below if you want to start growing your funds, and how much you think you can set aside, a week. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please go ahead and give it a like. Don't forget to subscribe and follow me on Twitter and Instagram. We can always interact there. Until next time, bye.